finally prove to the internet that you can read.
So,
Not that it was in doubt. Not that I was sowing that doubt.
great, thanks. So, apparently, we're supposed to be talking about the best game of the year right now.
Yeah, and I think the best game that we've played for this channel. So if you can remember back to all of the
Um,
previous PS Plus games.
Let me think. We played quite a few of them actually.
Yeah, we've been doing this since August or
September,
July.
September, I thought. August?
Yeah,
September. I don't
September
remember.
seems right.
Yeah, I think September. Um, I think the one that I enjoyed the most was Hue, I think.
Hue was great.
Yeah.
Wasn't my
Um,
favorite. My favorite was well, it's not fair because we did that throwback episode to Life is Strange, which
that's
was
see, I was gonna say that, but I didn't include it because it wasn't one of the new released ones. So,
yeah, yeah. But other than Hue, Skyforce Anniversary, the kind
oh
of
yeah.
shoot 'em up,
Really?
I have gone back to that game over and over again. I
Huh.
really liked it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, just editing our our channel.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, 2018 is going to be a great year already. The January releases have come out and they
Uh-huh.
look amazing. Have you
They
seen
they
them?
haven't come out, but they've announced them.
That's what I meant. What did
Yeah.
I say? I said something dumb. What you said is right.
Yes.
Have you seen them?
I did watch the little video that announced like the two main ones, but I honestly do not remember for the life of me what they were.
I'm most excited for the Telltale series
Oh,
Batman.
yeah, the Batman. Mm-hmm.
We did, of course, Life is Strange, which is another adventure game. We haven't done a Telltale for the channel yet, so this will be exciting to do that. And
Mm-hmm.
it'll be interesting because there's a lot of course talking, so we'll see how to do that. Also, Deus Ex Mankind Divided,
Oh yeah.
which I already own,
Okay.
and that's going to be a whopper of a game. I'm excited for you on that one.
There is there's a new PSVR game too. It's not a
It
new game, but
is,
it's a different free game than
yeah. It's a
yeah.
Starblood Arena, which I have no info on whatsoever, so
Oh,
we'll get to that one.
okay.
And they give you a ton of time to download those. That one is from January 2nd to March 6th, so we
Yeah,
can
the
jump to
the
that
VR
for
ones.
the next 3 months.
Do you
Yeah,
wonder,
yeah.
I wonder if that's because there are so few titles that they give you the extra few weeks because they know they if they switch to a new one too soon, they're gonna run out of them.
Yeah, totally. And they're not obligated, of course, to even give us the PSVR.
Right.
Part of the whole gimmick of the PS Plus free games is that they're offering a PS4, PS3, and a PS Vita.
Hmm.
So these PSVRs are not only unexpected, they're clearly marketing. They wanted
Oh yeah.
people to feel like, oh, I need to get PSVR. I'm missing these free
Right.
games.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And
Huh.
then also the PS Vita games that are cross-buy are Psycho Pass Mandatory Happiness and Uncanny Valley, two other games I know nothing about.
Huh. Yeah, I know nothing about any of those.
But we will know in the new year.
In January of next year, we'll know all about them.
So anyway, hi. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Lauren, and you are?
Oh, hello. I'm Tony, and we are the Artsy Gamers.
And today we're gaming together to get one trophy in Bound.
Bound. We're playing this game
Um,
today as it is one of the November 2017 PS Plus free downloads for the PlayStation 4. And the hope is that by the time we've achieved our trophy goal, we will have played enough of the game to get a substantive sense of the gameplay and story, to give an informed opinion on whether this game is worth both the download space on your PlayStation 4 and the temporal space that it takes up in your otherwise busy life.
so this episode is going to be a one and done, which means that it's getting one any trophy and we stop playing. So it's whatever first trophy pops, then we're done.
Right.
Um, I get no hints, at least in the beginning, and at the 2 hour mark, I'll get increasingly more obvious hints until I retrieve a trophy. So the thing is, Tony knows all about this game. Tony has played this game, and he knows
Yes.
when the trophy, whenever he knows in theory when a trophy should pop. Now, Tony is a more proficient gamer than I am. Terrible at games, so as I get more frustrated towards not earning a trophy, he's gonna help me out.
That's right. And thank you for skipping over it. We do have a script here at Two Gamers One Trophy, and I believe I wrote begging instead of beginning. Thank you for
Yeah,
not
you know,
calling me out
it's
on
funny
that.
because I saw that. I saw that in the corner of my eye, and you know what? Your brain does those things, that thing where it just fills in stuff when it knows things are wrong. And so I didn't even notice that until I went back and reread the sentence again. I was like, that's not right.
Your subconscious is too kind. For this game and the gamers playing along, you have your goal. It's get one trophy, and please feel free to let us know in the comments when you achieve your trophy. Uh, Lauren has no context, so she doesn't know
Yeah, I know
the
nothing.
easiest path. So don't brag too hard if you get it right off the bat.
Yeah, you're gonna get a trophy like a million hours before I do. I guarantee it.
We're currently holding on the play screen. We're gonna synchronize the start. So Lauren, if you'll count us down before you hit the play button, we'll be ready to go.
Okay, we're gonna go. Oh wait, can I change the audio options before we do the start? Because
Uh, Maybe go to options. I think you can do it right here.
yeah, um, music on. So I always turn the volume down slash um on the game just so I can hear Tony a bit easier.
Hmm.
So I apologize if you can't really play up. Point of the channel isn't really for you to hear the game. It's for you to hear us. So that. We're gonna go in 5, 4, 3, 2, new game.
Here we go.
Okay. Is she prego?
She does appear to be prego. I believe is the medical term.
Yeah, yeah. That's the clinical term.
So this is our last game in 2017.
Yes, because um, next week is will be a new year.
It's exciting. A lot of I'm hoping for a lot of diverse games for us to be playing.
Yeah, they usually have a pretty why does this chick walk so slow? There's usually a pretty good variety of games, I've noticed.
Yeah, and this one is definitely very. This is our indie game that we skipped in November.
Yes, November was a weird schedule for the two of us because of Thanksgiving, and then I wasn't feeling well at some point, and
Hmm.
yada
Hmm.
yada. So we actually only ended up playing like 2 games in November.
Yeah. So for those of you that are yelling at your screens, but Lauren and Tony, Bound is not one of the December games. Calm down. We're
We already
making up for
played
what we did.
December's games. Thank you.
That's right.
Something crazy just happened.
Yeah, it does seem like our attention has shifted to something more interesting.
Oh.
I mean, as much as I was excited to follow the pregnant woman's adventures on the beach,
Yeah, I mean the slow pace of her walking, that was fascinating.
I could play that for 2 hours.
I, you know what? And you probably wouldn't even get to the end of the beach.
Probably wouldn't.
Is she like a dancer?
Yes, she is. In fact, the motion capture for this game was done by a professional dancer.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. The developers did not have the dance motif for about a year and a half of their development cycle, and then when they
Hmm.
did change to the dancing, it was in an effort to make this distinguished from other walking simulators.
Hmm.
I mean, it really only is done is made it a dancing simulator, but it's an effort.
Yeah. Oh.
What's nice is that watching your kind of random exploration, it feels so musical with the dancing, so it works out well. There's our title, very nice.
Yeah, I like how that came up.
Now you have no expectation for this game. You didn't hear
Yeah, I
about it
don't,
in
I
any
had no,
context.
I know nothing about this game at all, except for that it was called Bound. Like, that's all I knew.
Yeah. They were developed by Plastic and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment back in August 16th of 2016. There's
Okay.
not a lot on Plastic. They only developed a series of demos
Uh-huh.
designed to test benchmark performances for gaming computers,
Okay.
as well as some engine testing demos. The only other game that they've released was on May 9th, 2012, for PlayStation 3. It was called Datora. It's a single-player adventure game.
Hmm.
So there's not a lot to compare it to.
Yeah.
They did, however, update this game for PlayStation VR, and they upgraded it for the PlayStation Pro patch
Okay.
in October and November of 2016, respectively.
Huh.
Now, I was hoping to have enough time to pop this on VR and give it a go. Unfortunately, I didn't, so I can't give you any commentary there. But playing through, I'll point out the scenes in particular that I think would have been very interesting in VR. And maybe I'll pop in some commentary in a future video if I do get a chance to do that.
Yeah. Do that up.
Commentate that shit.
Want to hear your thoughts?
Man, I should be drinking. We should be drinking through these.
Oh, we always should, yeah. I mean, we should always be drinking. No, that's not what I meant. What I meant was we should have some Prosecco, is what I meant.
Two gamers, one trophy. Get a trophy in Rehab, the game.
Two gamers, one rehab.
I love that. Talk to me about the art style here.
Okay, I really like her movements.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't, I don't know how I feel about like the blockiness and like, you'd think that with a dancer whose movements are so smooth, you'd want
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
environment to sort of mimic that.
Okay.
I would
You mean
anyway,
like a
but
more
like,
fluid environment?
yeah. I mean, like it's like everything's boxy and weird and like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah. When I was playing this and I picked up the fact that they previously did the engine testing for games,
Yeah.
um, I saw that very clearly in the way that the environments move around
Mhm.
the player character.
Yeah.
It really did feel like it was almost kind of this kind of stress of the PS4 test vibe. So that
Yeah.
was interesting. I could see that influence.
To roll. Yeah, I can totally see that for sure. I mean, I don't think it's terrible. I think it's just sort of it's a little bit jarring to see her move so fluidly and then just to have everything sort of, you know, I don't
Yeah.
know, be boxy and weird.
Uh, we talked a lot about tutorial levels in the show because, of course, we're constantly doing basically the tutorial level and maybe
Yeah.
one or two additional ones.
Right.
Here, they jump you into the action. There's very little story, and your tutorial consists of if you cannot figure out in enough time how to interact with a puzzle
Mhm.
environment, it gives you a very small
Yeah.
hint, but it doesn't stop the gameplay for
Yes.
that. So I like that.
Yeah, that's good. I'm really confused as to what the pregnant lady at the beginning had to do with anything, and like now the world, I don't. Everything is so weird. Okay, now I'm at
This
like
is
some table with a family playing chess. I don't get it. Are
This
the
is the
are
part that I think would be very good in VR.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
For me, at this point, I was thinking it's kind of a memory reconstruction type deal.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
But yeah, I don't think you're missing any info at this point.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've like missed out on anything, but
Think back. What was the other game that we played that you felt the movement was too slow?
Oh, that was the game that we played last week. What was that called?
Hmm. Last week's game was Forma Point Eight.
Forma 8, yeah. Yeah, and just like not that it was too slow, it's just that it didn't really have a reaction time. Like you couldn't
Hmm.
like,
Like you made an
like the
input and
like
it
the
took some
turn
time
radius on
for.
my car is like super good compared to that. The little
Right, I hear
guy.
you.
Yeah.
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 I don't feel that problem with this game, but I do have a problem with the pacing almost right off the bat. I feel like she moves very slow. You can speed her up, I
Yeah.
believe. Maybe it's with L1 or L2.
Yeah. It doesn't move her that much faster though,
No,
you know?
but a lot of these indie games, there's a lot of focus on look at the impressive art style that we've
Right.
we've made in this world, and take your time and explore the environment. But the way we play these games, we have limited time, and we go through these PS Plus games as sort of review for those people who need to know whether it's worth your time or not.
Right.
And a lot of these games, when they're this slow paced, sit down and maybe have a glass of tea, and
Yeah.
I don't know, it's not conducive to that. It's not conducive to this high octane experience you want in a short amount of time. But it doesn't mean these aren't good games. It just means we need to, I guess, have a certain amount of patience.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And like this isn't even like I don't know. It's not even that slow really. It's just sort of I don't know. I don't know what I would call it at this point.
Yeah.
What? Oh, it's an elevator. It's a lift.
Now you may have noticed that there's no dialogue in the game. At least no verbal
Spoken.
dialogue, because
Yeah.
of
Mhm.
course the kind of mumbling
Mhm.
Sims 4 type
Yeah.
speak.
Mhm.
So there's another game with no cast. So unfortunately, I have no cast trivia for you, but there was the motion cap for the dancer. So that's something.
And I do like her movement.
Yeah, they did a good job with that. I mean, it,
Yeah.
it should look good. The game took 3.5 years to develop.
Oh wow.
It seems like a long time. I mean, I'm going to point out, and I think should be clear. You and I have no development experience.
Oh
We've
yeah.
done nothing as far
No.
as software development. So
We
for
know
us to make
nothing.
commentary on that it's almost insulting. But 3.5 years does seem like a long time. I mean, I know we're dealing with a small development team, but
Yeah.
for what the game is, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, especially since like I don't know, it kind of looks unfinished to me. Like the art
Hmm.
style makes it look like I don't know. What am I supposed to be doing here? Oh, I can climb.
There's a
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, she's like a silks person. Now what?
Yeah, which you have some experience with.
Just a little bit.
Just a little. For me, if I were doing this, I would be holding on to it for my dear life, just gripping with two hands. You can do a little of the silk, which is impressive.
Thanks.
Quite welcome.
But yeah, like I was saying, it has this like unfinished feel to it. And I don't know if I mean, that's probably purposeful, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, their history with demos, it jumps to mind, as this
Yeah.
is more of a what can we do,
Mhm.
how can we have the environment, rather than needing it to be a fully kind of visually complete experience.
Right. Right.
So this is why I think the game can't be identified as a walking simulator, because you do have a bit of an attack. Use air quotes there.
Yeah.
The dancing it's interesting.
I like that there's no set, there's no set series of attacks. It's like you just
Right.
push the button and do what you want to do.
Right. So it's kind of like you're creating a dance just based on sort of your inner rhythm rather
Right.
than any instruction from the game.
Yeah, that's kind of nice, actually. It's not like, oh, this boss needs you to hit these certain series of things.
It brings up a question though, because we have this simmering debate in the gaming community about what constitutes a game versus what constitute interactive art,
Yeah.
and how much does a game require skill or puzzle solving, or put in whatever you want to put in there to constitute a game versus just an artistic or maybe even cinematic experience. And this experience, I think, straddles that border between gameplay and art.
Oh, yeah. Whoops! I just fell.
So, at least at first, the game defaults, and there's a requirement later on for a trophy in which you can turn off the safety edges, where you can't just walk right off an edge, but you can jump off some. There are entire modes in which you die, and then that's it. You have to restart the entire experience. And there's a trophy for achieving a speed run of the entire game, collecting every collectible with no dying. That is extremely difficult, but I'll give you those stats a little bit later when I go through the trophies.
Cool. This looks like, who's that guy with the paintings that has all the squares and the lines? Mondrian or whatever? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I would never be able to give you the artist name. Unfortunately, that's not my world.
No, but
It's not my wheelhouse.
you know what I'm talking about, though, right?
I do.
Um,
I think that speaks to my point. These artistic gameplay experiences, they're important. They add a certain credence to video gaming as a whole. They can help bring experiences to people that they would never have had otherwise. But, I think there does need to be a delineation between what is a game and what is an art experience, just for the purposes of so people can go into an experience knowing what to expect.
yeah. No, I agree with that. Because you're right. At this point, it feels more like it's not really a game right now. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
We had some back and forth off camera about what to call all these episodes, whether to call them Two Gamers, One Trophy Presents a game or Plays a game. And I'm really glad that we chose Presents, at least for this experience, because, again, I just have a hard time calling it Play.
Yeah. And I even felt that way a little bit about Life is Strange. Because,
Yeah.
how much are you even really playing that game?
Yeah, and the Telltale, we'll have this discussion again when it comes to the Batman game in 2018,
Right.
which there's no skill necessary. It's all about making some quote unquote difficult decisions,
Sure.
exploring your morality, or exploring maybe how you enter and interact with the story, but it's not requiring traditional gameplay. And I know you're saying to yourself, "Oh, I'm glad to get back to the pregnant beach storyline." That was where my
geez.
heart was invested.
I'm enthralled.
So it took me a minute to recognize that essentially she's the hub world. That as she goes through her journal, you can go to whichever level you'd like. I believe
Uh-oh.
there's 5 in total, at least that you can see initially. There may be a final one that unlocks.
Oh, I see. I see now.
What's interesting about a lot of games that have hub worlds, and by hub worlds I mean think of Super Mario 64, think Ocarina of Time.
Mhm.
Trying to think of another game that we've actually played on the channel that has a hub world.
I don't think we've played one with a hub world.
I think you're right.
But like Unravel or something, or
Yeah.
even Little Big Planet.
Yes. Yeah. And so, where you essentially go from world to world, you can do whatever order you'd like.
Mhm.
In some cases, they do lock and they require you to unlock a previous one. But
Mhm.
a lot of the hub world system is based on you can explore the world to a certain extent with the skill set that you've acquired thus far. And
Right.
as you progress in the game and acquire new skills, then you can go back to previous worlds and unlock, maybe some additional collectibles or unlock additional parts of the map. In this game, it's not like that. It's literally, go into a world, explore it, collect whatever memory chunks there are,
Mhm.
and complete the world. But there's no reason to go back to it because you've gained a new skill that doesn't exist.
Right. Right. It's not like, oh, there's this area that I can't unlock quite yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it makes it to me kind of like, well, what's the point of even having the hub world then? What's the point of going through the
Right.
pages?
Why
Just
wouldn't they just do the levels in a chronological order? Like, oh, you finished
yeah.
this one, let's go to the next or whatever.
Because all it does for me is it says that the little bit of kind of mysterious story of I don't know what we're doing, memory or whatever we're doing
Yeah.
here, that there's no progressive story. It's just we're getting isolated chunks that have to be generic enough that you can play them in any order.
Mhm.
So I guess that's my first criticism.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Okay, so I want to ask you about starting a TV show. Again, you and I have busy lives. You have plenty of people saying, "Oh, you need to watch Game of Thrones. You need to watch The
mhm.
Walking Dead. You have to get
Mhm.
into whatever." Um, you find yourself with some free time and you jump into a show.
Yeah.
How long do you give that show a chance? How many episodes or even minutes of a show do you say, "I can't.
Um,
This is not worth my time"?
so usually I'll give, if I start watching a show, I'll give the entire first episode a chance. Like I'll watch the full first thing.
Right.
Unless it's something that I just absolutely cannot stand. But I don't know if you like, for example, there's this show on Netflix. It's a Netflix creation.
Exclusive. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's called Friends from College.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And I watched the first episode, and while I was watching it, I was like, why am I watching this? It was so terrible. Like every character was like the worst person on the face of the earth, and I really just wanted to punch them all.
Right.
But I watched the full first episode, and then when I got to the end of it, I was like, okay, well, I regret that. But like, I wouldn't have known. Like, maybe somebody somewhere had some redeeming quality, but no, 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 no. At
Hmm.
the end of it, I was just like, nope, these people are terrible, and I don't want to watch this anymore.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so I'll
And
give.
was the show celebrating their terribleness or?
It wasn't. It. Uh, yes, more or less. It wasn't really like two of the characters were cheating
Hmm.
with each other, and they just like there were no consequences. I mean, there were, I guess. They killed a rabbit, but like they were terrible about it. And then yet they continued to like do that thing. And I was
Yeah.
just like, all right, well, clearly you people are terrible.
So, okay, if you give a television show a pilot, would you say that you typically will give a video game a tutorial level, or what's your
Um,
equivalent?
yeah, I guess well, not necessarily. It depends. It depends because if the tutorial level is just like it was in Kung Fu Panda, where literally it was just like you go in, you do the
Hmm.
tutorial, and then fine, I'll play it a little bit. But if it's a tutorial level what's that? what was, oh, like Metal Gear Solid, where like the
Mm-hmm.
tutorial is like the entire game.
Right.
I usually I'll give a video game. I don't know. I don't really do it by that. I do it like by time, I guess maybe. I don't know.
Or is it more natural? Is it just whenever you hit a point of, I feel like I've got the gist of this game and I can't anymore?
Yeah, yeah. It's more based on the game and I feel like the TV shows are the same way. Like if until I get to a point in a show where I'm just like, this is awful, I need to stop watching. Sometimes that's the pilot. Sometimes it's after the first season. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's 8 seasons in and you realize, man, this show really went downhill and you have to stop watching it.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. It's of course different. A lot of
Yeah,
people will say, "Oh, I'll give a television show 3 episodes," or "Oh, the first season is always shaky,"
yeah,
And that's a lot of time. It's a lot of time to invest in something without the knowledge that it's going to get good.
right.
I can tell you, based on these games that we've played this past year, that we've gotten the experience at a certain minute that we know. Okay, this is what the game is about.
Yeah,
And not to completely spoil you, but you have already achieved that moment where this is the entirety of the gameplay of
yeah,
this game.
yeah,
What you're doing now is what you do the entire time.
right. And we've only been playing this game for, well, I started at 6.5 minutes, so we've only been playing this game for 25 minutes.
Right.
So,
Right.
like, yeah. And I mean, that, I don't like that. Like,
Mhm.
because one, I don't know how much longer this game is going to be,
Right.
and two, it's like I don't know. I feel like for video games, I need something to keep me interested.
Right.
Like in Hue, the gameplay was the same throughout, but like you got different colors unlocked, and so like you had to figure that out. Here, it just
Yeah.
seems like, oh well, we're gonna just keep running around and dancing the whole time. Like, not that that's bad.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's not terrible gameplay or anything, but I don't know.
Well, the gimmick to this game, the dancing, versus the gimmick to Hue, the color collection and altering the world
Yeah,
based on the colors, are fine. Most gimmicks are fine. You can
yeah,
really, hit us with any gimmick, and I think most gamers would appreciate and go, okay, let's see how this works.
right.
But the hallmark of a good game
Hmm.
is taking that initial system and progressing it, uh, increasing the difficulty or increasing the different variations that you can do
Right.
with whatever your gimmick is in order to make an experience that challenges you until you get to the end goal of what hopefully is a good story or a
Hmm.
good theme that at the end you feel like you've had a complete experience.
Yeah.
And Hue, by adding additional colors, which increases the difficulty because now you're jumping back and forth with
Yeah.
different colors, that had a sense of accomplishment. I
Yeah.
feel like that's a weird word to use these
Yeah.
days after EA.
Yeah,
but
right?
You know what I mean.
Sense of
Um,
accomplishment.
exactly. But this game, again, because of the layout of the hub and everything, you
Uh-huh.
are guaranteed that this is the entirety of the experience.
Yeah.
That the layout of each world may change and that may increase some difficulty, but you don't feel like you're progressing as a character,
Right.
which again points to this game being more of an art experience than a traditional game.
Yes. Yeah.
And then how do you judge that? How do you come at something like that? How do you say that this game compares to others when this may not even be a game in that kind of
Right.
traditional sense?
I would not really call this a game. You know?
Yeah.
It's like cuz all we're doing is like what's the point of this? You're like collecting memories or whatever or something?
Hmm.
Um so like what's that other game that I just mentioned? Unravel, where you're collecting the
Hmm.
memories.
Hmm.
Like that, I mean, and that's a platformer, but all you're doing is collecting memories, so it's sort of the same thing, but it feels like a game because you have to like jump and duck and climb.
Yeah.
And,
And this is I could think you could argue this is a platformer,
yeah, in a sense.
but I think you know what I mean. That it feels like a different
Yeah.
animal altogether.
Right. This feels like an experience. Like
Yeah.
it's not a game.
And here's what's interesting. This game, as I mentioned before, was also released or updated for the VR. And
Mhm.
I think VR right now is still, even though we're at a year, It's
Mm-hmm.
still as a technology in its infancy. We're
Mm-hmm.
only now beginning to get those AAA titles where you're getting traditional gameplay in a VR environment. And
Right.
this feels like a VR experience, which is what we got at the beginning. A bunch of gimmicky things that you can try out that they weren't progressive experiences that wasn't traditional gameplay. It was more look at what this technology could do.
Yeah.
Imagine this blown up to a full experience.
Sure.
It was almost like they were trying to sell the technology to developers.
Right. It was like, hey, developers, look at the cool things you could do with this. Here's like a short little thing, and it's not
Right.
really. Yeah.
Right. So if we had played this, if this was me playing, and you had done the research because this was a VR game exclusive,
Mm-hmm.
I think we would be having an entirely different conversation. That there would be this grounded expectation that this is an experience, not to expect a traditional gameplay, and you and I would
Mm-hmm.
be maybe a little less. I don't want to say
Critical.
harsh. I don't think we're being harsh. Our
We've
expectations would not be as high.
Yeah. We've been a little bit critical because, well, first of all, I didn't have expectations going into this game because I had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
Um, so like I'm okay with what's happening, but I feel um, like if this is all the game there is, really, and there's not, I don't do anything else the whole game. Yeah, I'm gonna be disappointed. And I know you just told me I don't do anything else the whole game. I just dance around and whatever. But
Right. Now,
but
I
you're
will give a
right.
caveat that, I have not completed this game. And most of the games that we play, I don't complete. So
Yeah.
it is possible the game does a hard left turn after
Yeah.
2.5 hours of genuine gameplay, but I doubt it. At that point, I think you can call most games as, okay, this is the experience. This is what you're doing.
Yeah. Wait, is this where I came from? I think
Um,
so. Yeah.
I believe there are memory shards in the direction that you did not go.
Yeah. You're right. I see them.
I should point out for any viewers, I am watching the stream like they are. You're the one playing, so for me, I'm recording from the past.
Yes. Tony is on a bit of a delay because we don't live in the same place.
Correct.
I will say that the levels, like the fact that the levels have sort of different challenges is
Mm-hmm.
nice.
Right.
Like earlier I had those like beams that were twisting back and forth that I had to like navigate over, and then here these walls are like weird and I have to follow this red thing. So it's not just like, hey, climb a ladder and then walk on a thing and then climb another
Right.
ladder
Right.
and then walk on another thing.
But I think you and I would both say, and correct me if I'm wrong, that these are not necessarily progressively more difficult. That it's just a
No,
different thing to
it's
do.
just different.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe not so different that you feel, oh, this, I have to really think about how to do this.
No. Yeah. There's no thought involved.
So how would you feel if I give you the official PlayStation description of this game?
Sure, I would appreciate that.
Well, then let me do that.
Cool.
PlayStation Store gives a full description of the game. They call it the following: developed exclusively for PlayStation 4 by Plastic, the dean behind the dean, the
The
team
Dean.
behind innovative, the dean behind the school, behind innovative titles like Linger in Shadows and Datora. Bound combines unique visual style with a powerful story and gameplay mechanics infused with modern dance. Bound transports you into a beautiful, fantastical world that exists in the mind of a woman revisiting the memories of her childhood. Use dance moves to traverse vast environments filled with platforming challenges. As the game progresses, the introspective story unfolds through powerful metaphor and imagery, adding emotional depth to the protagonist's journey. Oh yeah, reading.
Yeah, but the thing is, Tony,
Tell
that
me the thing.
they don't explain any of that story. Like, you don't get any of that.
Yeah.
I don't,
You
because
know
I
what
was
that
like,
read to me like? That read to me like going to the Museum of Modern Art, standing in front of a piece of artwork,
yeah,
thinking about it for a minute and going, huh, that's a thing. And then
yeah.
noticing the plaque underneath and reading it and going, oh, okay, I guess that,
Like, I
yeah,
could
that makes
see that,
sense.
sure, maybe. Yeah.
Which, I know I keep saying, but makes this more of an art piece than a game.
Yeah, yeah. Which is true. That's exactly what it is.
You know how in college they used to say, oh, this book represents the following metaphor, and you felt a little bit like, okay, I feel like I kind of had to be told that,
Yeah.
or that it took a long, many people analyzing to come to that conclusion, and it felt like, okay, well, maybe this could have been more clear, because,
And then I always wonder, like, did the author even mean that metaphor? Because, like, it took you a really
right,
long time to get to that? Like, or is that
right,
just
right,
something that you, as a professor, are like, well, I've read a lot of ways to analyze things, and this is how I'm analyzing it. But anyway,
right.
yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and knowing the development cycle of this game, that they did not land on the dancing motif at first. That was something that came into over half of their development cycle. That it feels like, well, at what point did this become about a vision, an artistic metaphor they were trying to tell, and what became, okay, we're just kind of piecing this together based on our final product.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like they just wanted the dancey bits in there because it looks nice, you know?
Yeah, and again, it's a quote that they wanted to add, that said this didn't have a walking simulator vibe. And for
Yeah.
those that don't know what a walking simulator is, it's essentially you have this world, an environment that you're supposed to interact with and or just see the world in order to have a story unfold around you, but you don't do anything, or you do very limited movements except for walking. You're just
Yeah.
holding that analog stick until you get to location to location.
Mm-hmm.
And here you're doing some platforming, as you can
Right.
see, but essentially you are walk slash
I'm just,
dancing from
yeah,
location to
walking through
location.
the world, more or less. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, had to stop for a second, grab a blanket. It is cold here. I mean, I'm
It
sure
is
it's not as
cold.
cold as it is there, but it's cold.
What's your temperature?
It's probably in the 20s right now.
Yeah, I think we're at 16. It's
Ugh.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been out a lot, and I think I got a little bit of a cold. If you can
Oh
hear that in my
no.
voice, I apologize. But yeah, it's brutal.
Have you guys had snow this year?
We had a little bit of snow a couple weeks ago, before Christmas.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we didn't get any yet this year. I mean, this winter.
Yeah. In VR again, with all the shards essentially being in your face, this
Yeah.
would be cool. And
This
I
would be
wish I
cool.
had, I wish I had jumped into that experience that I could comment on it, but I can only speculate.
I don't really know where I'm meant to be going.
Again, the pacing in this moment feels like, I get what you're doing. In VR, this would be understandable, but here, all we are doing is waiting for the exit, which will appear eventually.
Yeah, why did they do like I had already seen everything. Like I got what the scene was. So why did they make me wait for the door to open?
I think that's just the artist saying, look, keep looking, look at the amazing
Yeah.
thing that I've
Look
done.
at the
And,
thing. Yeah.
you know, I, your game should be beautiful, and people should appreciate it. But if you're slowing down the action of your game, you're slowing down the gameplay
Mhm.
just so that people can take a look at your environment, that reeks of insecurity. That reeks of they're forcing you to experience the only part of your game that you're really proud of.
Mhm.
I know that sounded judgy, but it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair though because, you know, I don't need to be told what to appreciate in a game. You know, I can look at something and decide whether or not I think it's pretty. I don't need you to like push it in my face and be like, no, look at it. Like, look at this thing.
Yeah.
This game feels like, oh goodness, what's that game? I can never remember names of games, you guys. I'm really terrible at it. But there's a game, and it was one of the free PS Plus games, and it was about a kid who was like trying to overcome the, oh god, it was like his fantasy world that he escaped to when he was like being abused or something. Do you know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
wow. Um, I do know what you're talking about. We do some Google foo. Maybe I can
Yeah.
figure it out.
It just had this vibe of like the world was disjointed and you had to put it back together, and like there were all these creatures. This part is really cool, by the way.
The
Like
kind of
the
surfing.
Yeah.
Perhaps you're talking about Papa and Yo.
Yeah, Papa and Yo.
Yeah. That game, despite being another indie experience and kind of a puzzle, that
Yeah.
was great. That was a great game. Before our time as a show, but a great PS Plus game.
Yes. I did enjoy that one. There have been a lot of really good indie games in the past few years for PS Plus.
Hmm. So that one was a PlayStation 3 release.
Yes, that is true. That was not PS4. Sorry, guys. Was it not PS4? Huh. I don't remember that.
I believe it was PS3.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And we're back to our hub world.
And I get, oh, she just like, it's like, see ya, I'm gonna litter now. What the heck?
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, it is kind of a dick move. Done with that world.
I'm done with this memory. Like, I don't understand why they made her walk so slowly. I get that she's pregnant, but like,
I think it's a combo that she's pregnant and she's
and it's
also
the
just
beach.
leisurely strolling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sand is hard to walk in, you guys.
yeah. You know, I'm certainly interested. If any viewers have played Bound, let us know what you think, because I wouldn't say we're struggling, but we're failing to see how this can engage you for multiple hours. Would you say that's
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, you know, I'm having trouble even wanting to keep playing right now. Like, I'm going to because that's the point of this, but
That's our contract to the internet. We're required to.
yeah.
Again, you know, seeing the lighthouse in the background, it makes me want to play more of Life is Strange.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get to a month that has more weeks than releases and we can go back to it.
Yeah, unfortunately, had we played Bound when we were supposed to, this would have been one of those weeks. But
Yeah.
wah wah, Thanksgiving had to happen.
November was a terrible month.
The worst. No, maybe last November was the worst. But
Well, yeah. Yes, fair. Do you know what she reminds me of? Like
I
the
don't. But I feel like you should tell me.
not the main character chick, but like the princess queenie chick with the fluffy dress that just
Oh yeah, go.
she looks like the queen from God, Katamari, the Katamari games.
Yeah, okay. I would have said Legend of Zelda because a
Yeah,
lot of that
she
kind of.
does look. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I had a friend. I was playing this. Another friend was watching,
Mm-hmm.
and they said it reminded them of Bioshock, the Splicers,
Oh, see, I
which
haven't
I
played
thought,
BioShock.
oh, that I can't even tell you how much you should spend time playing that. That's a great, great game. But there are horror. That's a horror. That's
Yeah.
an enemy and I can kind of see it, but it felt like ooh, I don't get a creepy vibe from this lady. So that's interesting that he went there.
But I get like a mean vibe from her. Not creepy, but like she's definitely a bitch.
Interesting. Okay.
She's like, "Are you going
You
to
know,
stand
I
here all
want.
day?" She just like chided you. I get that you're probably her daughter, but like, dude, don't be mean about it.
That's interesting. I wonder how much that is like, of course, us already predefining gender roles. I just immediately assumed that she was this kind of motherly, warm figure, and I ignored
Yeah, you
the
probably never
dialogue
had a
that was
mom
clearly
who was
bitchy.
like, "Yo, get off your ass." I mean,
Maybe
I
I
didn't
should have.
either. My mom never
I'd be
said
more
shit like that to me,
disciplined.
but
That's funny. Also, a little bit of Journey with the ribbon, with the magical ribbons. I'm
oh yeah.
getting some Journey
Mhm.
vibe there too.
Yep.
Another indie game, which, there. How much gameplay was there in Journey when you
Oh my
really think
god,
about it?
not like none. Like Journey was just like,
You had some platforming, you had some collecting, you had some enemies, but
yeah,
light. It was light, and it was much more about this story that slowly developed depending on how you played the game, and it
yeah,
felt personal.
yes, and
And here I'm learning about the background of some pregnant lady on a beach.
yeah, yeah. Journey was very much like, and it had like you could tell what the story was, even though there wasn't again a game without any spoken dialogue. Like that game had a solid story.
Hmm. Hmm.
Plus, it was cool that you could just like get teamed up with random other players and play your way through some of the levels.
That was such a good hidden mechanic of that
Yes,
game. When you finally discover that you're playing with another human
with
being.
like actual other people.
I guess we should probably have said spoilers, but it's a very old game at this
Oh
point.
yeah, I mean that game's been out for a while. If you haven't played it by now, what is wrong with you? I'm kidding. I'm kidding, guys.
What is your problem? We actively dislike you. Doing some
No, you know I love
Michael Jackson,
yours.
Billie Jean action here.
Oh, with the floor lighting up. I got it. I
Yeah.
understood.
It was a callback. I apologize.
I was like, I'm way like it took me a while to get it because I was way past that part.
Again, I'm in the past. So far in the past, I'm making 80s references.
Tony is joining us from the 1980s.
It's real exciting here. I can't imagine things getting any better than this.
Oh, just you wait.
Yeah, we'll wait till I hit grunge.
No, get to wear a lot of flannel.
It's true.
Like, I don't. This isn't even like a challenge.
Right.
Like, there's no. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so on that note, that this is not a challenge, let me give you the PlayStation trophy list.
Oh, yes, please.
I aggregated this data from psnprofiles.com.
Hmm.
They are an aggregator of trophy collectors who, anyone who signs up for the site, their trophies get synced up, and then you can see how rare or common a trophy is. So,
Hmm.
based on psnprofiles.com, this game has one platinum trophy, 5 gold, 13 silver, and 8 bronze, for a total of 1,140 points.
That's way
The
more than I
platinum,
expected.
yeah, it's right there in the middle of a lot of the games we've been playing lately. But what's interesting is that the platinum trophy has a point 0.74% ultra rare rating, which means that out of all gamers who actively
Wow.
work for trophies and have registered on psnprofiles.com, less than a percent have achieved that platinum trophy.
Huh. That's
And the
definitely
reason
the
for that
rarest one
is,
we've encountered.
yeah, and I think the reason for that is that, as I was mentioning before, there is a trophy for completing the game in its entirety in one
Hmm.
session without dying, which means you have to have that edge guard
Yeah.
feature, that safety feature turned off,
Right.
and you have to collect a bunch of the items because every memory shard you collect unlocks other levels. So you have to
Huh.
essentially do the game perfectly.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
For me, I want trophies to be a challenge, but I also want them to be achievable. For
Yes.
trophy hunters to only have achieved that, in not 0.74, that to me says, we just made this as difficult as possible to the point that it's no longer fun to even try to
Right.
attempt this. And for a game that, honestly, at this point, I think maybe you would agree with me, there doesn't seem to be much replayability.
No. There's
It
not
feels
much
cruel.
first playability in this game, to be honest.
Yeah, it seems like it's a cruel trophy.
Yeah, that's harsh.
Yeah. You know those beads that hang down between doorways?
Uh-huh.
You can buy those, beads.
Yeah.
You often dance through them.
I always dance. I dance like no matter what I'm doing, basically.
That's great. This must feel really natural for you.
Yeah.
You
You
know.
know, I just
You're
I
ready to
dance
your
around
desk
my
at work.
house all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah. I actually do kind of dance around my house a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, based on this game, I have to say I would not want to play the game again.
No, my life is nothing like this. I wouldn't want to play the game of my life either, to be honest. It hasn't been that
I
great.
feel like your game would be more of a Telltale game.
Oh yeah. Yes, and I would always make the wrong decisions. Story of my life. Make the bad choice.
Here's the thing about Telltale games, though. They're all bad decisions.
Oh,
It
yeah.
doesn't matter what you choose. You're always doing something that's horrific.
Right, right. It's like, well, if I make choice A, then X terrible thing will happen. But if I make choice B, then Y terrible thing will happen. You don't really
Exactly.
like, yeah. It's all topsy-turvy. I'm getting dizzy. Do you often encounter beads hanging in doorways, Tony? Is that a thing you see in your life that much?
I don't. I can't say that I do. It feels very 70s.
I feel like that's like a college dorm thing.
Okay, yeah, also.
I don't know why I feel that. I just feel that. I never had them in college. I don't know why I say that.
So we're hitting the hour mark, and you're in last, your latest virtual reality gimmicky area. Um, Gameplay's changed any since the half hour mark?
Nope.
Still more of the same.
Yep. Still more of the same.
Okay, ignoring the mechanic, as far as the story, do you feel like you have gotten a greater understanding of this woman's memories? Which, again, is a fact we only know because we
No.
read the PlayStation description.
Like I really don't understand. So, like, is she the young? Is she the kid? Is she the young girl? I assume that's what's
Um,
happening.
yeah, I'm unclear. I think that she's probably the young girl, and the woman with the beads is her mother.
Yeah.
And the pink beads, of course, are highlighted in such a way that makes you think that you're collecting I don't know, you're collecting the beads as you go through the level.
I
Clearly,
don't know.
she's an abused figure, right? That's what we're getting at here.
Yeah, the dad is obviously. Well, no, I don't know because look, because they're yelling at each other.
Right, right. And the
I
kids are
don't.
scared.
The kids are scared, but they're both shouting. It's not like I feel like in abusive situations,
Hmm.
the person being abused doesn't often shout back, right? I feel like
Okay.
they're just fighting.
I think this is one of the few times I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I think that the fact that he's brandishing what I think, the wrench is kind of a weapon there.
Yeah, no, I think he's just trying to fix the car, and they're arguing about the car being broken. I don't think he.
Okay.
I
So it's not okay.
I
Okay, I
don't
see
think he's
that.
being
Okay.
abusive. I don't think he's threatening her with that wrench. I think he's just saying, "Look, I'm trying to fix the fucking thing," and she's like, "What are you doing?" And the kids are scared because they're yelling at each other. And look, there's suitcases. Maybe she's trying to leave. Maybe somebody's trying to leave. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. Okay, okay.
Maybe they're going on a trip
And the car's
and
broken.
the car's broken and they're mad at each other because like one's trying to fix it and the other one's like, "We're supposed to be leaving on the trip."
Okay, well the boy is holding her ears, which
So she can't
indicates that this
hear
is
the
a
argument.
common
Yeah.
but this is a common occurrence that he knows
Yes.
that this is a thing.
Right.
Does that, I don't know, intrigue you to keep playing this little analysis we're doing?
Yeah, not really, because you know what? The fact that I had to make up my own story for what was happening there is like, okay, fine. To a certain extent, yeah, I like that there's like, not really a whole lot of what is happening? Of like, okay, yeah, that was fun, you and I inventing our own little thing. But also it was
Right.
confusing because it's like, what is happening? Is he abusing her?
Yeah. I will give the game this. A lot of the games we've played, we've not been able to do the one and done system, which as a reminder, the one and done means we're going for one trophy and then we're done playing.
Yeah.
And the reason that we've not been able to do that and we've had to instead do a targeted trophy, which means I in advance let you know the trophy that we're going for,
Right.
and that's the one that we're counting as our one trophy, is because a lot of the games will give you an initial burst of a trophy, either one or two,
Right.
right in the beginning, as an incentive to keep playing. As
Yeah.
we're hitting that dopamine. There are rewards. Go for it. This game does nothing of the sort. You
Yeah.
get no trophy for finishing these levels. You get no trophy for collectibles. There are some trophies you could have hit pretty early, but it's very random that you would have done that. It would have been rare for you to have done that. So
Is
I
it
felt very
like
confident.
when we played Amnesia, like I could have gotten a trophy if I just turned the game off, but how are you gonna know
It,
that kind of thing?
exactly.
Yeah.
It's very similar to that
Yeah.
actually. Yes. Yeah.
What if I
That
had,
was a
what if,
fun gimmicky trophy.
yeah, that was good. And then when I found out that that was the thing I could have done, I got so mad at you. I was like,
Oh, you
how
did.
dare you?
I loved that so much. Just knowing that you could have avoided that entire experience.
Oh man, that was good though. I mean, I'm glad we were in the same room for that one.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, is she okay? So she's tossing these experiences away. So I mean, she's littering as well.
Right.
But is the whole point of this because she's pregnant? I don't know that she's gonna let her childhood, her tumultuous childhood, go, and then be her own, be a good mother herself.
Yeah, I feel like because she's pregnant and she seems to be on her own. There wasn't like a man. Somebody just dropped her off at
Right.
that beach. I
Right.
feel like
We're safe
she
to assume that she's alone.
yeah. I feel like she is remembering her childhood in the attempt to let go of it and be like, I'm not gonna let my daughter or my child. I just assume she's having a daughter. I don't know why I did that. Um, but I don't want her to experience this kind of life. And maybe the person that she was with, maybe the father of this child was like her, maybe the relationship was like her parents' relationship, and she's like, nah, I'm out of this, you know?
Right.
But we obviously, again, don't know any of that, and we're just creating a story for this game because it doesn't really have one.
Well, okay. Let's say that's fun. It's fun to talk about this. The
Yeah,
only story that we're getting is after 15-minute chunks of a very esoteric, metaphoric gameplay of a dancer.
Yeah.
Which is no indication this woman is a dancer.
No.
Maybe she is. That'd be fine.
Yeah.
But we're getting these tiny photographs of scenes
Hmm.
that we're creating our own story, and we're gonna get what, 5 or 6 of them?
Yeah. Well,
That's
didn't you say when you were reading the description that she is reliving like this fantasy world that she created when she was younger? I thought that was in the description somewhere.
Let
Like
me go
this
back
was
to
a
that description for you. Transports you into a beautiful, fantastical world that exists in the mind of the woman,
yeah.
revisiting the memories of her childhood.
Oh, so the world exists in her mind. I feel like the diary that she's looking at is hers from when she was a child, right? And so the
Agreed.
memories are associated with this like fantasy world that she's created.
Agreed. Now, if this were my memories you'd be going through, you would be fighting a lot of Ninja Turtles,
Yeah.
maybe some Smurfs.
Yeah, there'd definitely be like, you know, She-Ra and He-Man in my world for
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was definitely not creative enough to be creating these abstract
Oh yeah.
dancer
No,
figures
I
or
definitely
whatever.
did not. And I, you know, I invented worlds that had familiar things in them,
Right.
not just like bizarre-looking insect kind of creatures.
And I know, we're being unfair. Of course, they're not going to have licensed characters. However,
Right.
you could
Yeah.
easily do that. You could easily do that without that. You could do, you could have dancing motif, establish her as a dancer as a
Yeah.
child. That doesn't seem hard to do.
No.
She's holding a teddy bear in one scene. Throw in giant teddy bears
Yeah.
or, abstract teddy bear monsters. It just doesn't seem too hard to make this representative of a childhood's imagination
No.
instead of what appears to be you've created a graphically interesting world with your interesting engines,
Yes.
and you're creating a story around it that, to be honest, you've sort of just shoehorned in.
Yeah, the story definitely feels like an afterthought. Like, oh, we wanted to make this beautiful world where the dancer goes around and does this stuff, and then they were like, how can we make this into somewhat of a story?
The giant feather head figure is supposed to be the mother. No?
Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah.
Well, we can't be confident because the dialogue is so vague. It's opaque on purpose because, again, you're doing these worlds in any order that you please. So the
Right.
game can't do a progressive narrative
Right.
without ruining the whole concept of the hub world. They wanted the best of both worlds there, and they've achieved nothing in either scenario.
Yeah, it's like, okay, give me a story that's cohesive and make me play the games in order, or give me a hub world wherein I really can go in any order I want and still sort of understand what's happening.
Yeah. The physics are interesting. Going upside down and sticking to the floor, and there being a level that adapts to where you are. But that was accomplished to great effect in Super Mario Galaxy. I feel like
Yeah.
okay, that's fine, that's good, but use that as an element of something else. Don't make that the entirety of your thing anymore. That's no longer enough.
Yeah. I'm getting kind of annoyed by the music too. I can't really hear it that well because I turned it down, but it
Right.
sounds very repetitive.
I actually can't hear it at all. So give me a little bit more description. Is it ethereal? Is it
I can't really
kind of
hear
a-
it that much. But it just
Okay.
feels like it's the same few notes repeatedly.
yeah? That's
I can-
interesting because if your main character is represented as a dancer,
Yeah.
you would imagine that the music would be
Maybe it's just annoying because I
incredibly
do
vague.
have it low. Let's turn it up a little bit and see. no, I just, it's not very, I don't know. I
They've
don't
taken
like
one
it.
track and they're just repeating it.
Yeah.
That's not good. You know, dance isn't about movement only. It's about movement to a
Movement
beat.
to, yeah, the sound. And there's like, now there's no music. Now it's back. Oh, this music is good. This is good. This sounds like, Stranger Things soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
You'll hear it in a second. But again, it's just the same 4 notes over and over again.
Yeah. These enemies are these representations of your mother or whatever. I'm partial to the giant imposing enemy in a game. I think that's very
Yeah.
cool. It feels like, you know, you have an obstacle that you really have to surmount. But here, when you interact with the enemy, it just seems to throw you into a cutscene and then you're like off again doing some platforming. And it's like, oh, come on, do you know, have a boss battle of some sort. Do something with that because it just feels like we're moving from one goalpost to another.
Okay, is this one meant to be her brother?
Yes, I think
Called
so.
him Savior?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Am I meant to be controlling this?
I couldn't tell. I don't think so.
No, okay. I was just controlling the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, okay, the page that you entered was a bunch of airplanes.
Yeah.
There was an airplane in the cutscene. You don't control the airplane.
I know.
You enter the game expecting for you to have some control of the aerial flight. I mean, that's the base expectation. Am I being too picky, or is that how you feel?
No, I think I would agree with that for the most part. And look, all these things are little airplanes too.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I guess. Maybe I'm being too critical.
Maybe. So I was telling some people that you and I do this, play these games every week, and that sometimes people will watch us, and they like couldn't understand it. Like, why would anyone watch someone else play video games? Mind you, this conversation was happening on Christmas Day, where my friend and I were watching her husband play Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I'm like, why are we sitting here watching you play Breath of the Wild right now? Like, it's the same thing.
Right. You know, do you watch other streamers, or do you watch any
I
YouTube
don't.
channels of
I
Let's
sometimes
Plays?
will watch I'll watch like highlights of things on YouTube.
Yeah.
but I don't normally sit and watch like hours of gameplay or whatever.
You know, I do. I wouldn't say that I follow any of those hyper popular ones like PewDiePie before he became
Yeah.
untouchable.
Yeah.
What's his name? I want to say Montpelier, but that's not right. Mark Plier.
Oh, sure.
Mark
Mhm.
Plier.
Mhm. Yeah. I know
People are
what you're
gonna
talking
hate that I don't know that.
about. Yeah.
There are a lot of others. I look for a game that I'm interested in, and
Uh-huh.
I find how other people are playing it, how other people are experiencing it.
Yeah.
There are these fun channels that I like, where they don't just play the game; they'll role play the game.
Okay.
So, for example, the Fallout series,
Uh-huh.
they'll do a series of role plays with a character voice and playing the game as if a person were experiencing it. So they would do things that don't make sense logically in the game world. Not going for the obvious power-ups or the obvious things or avoiding conflict. And I don't know, it just engages my imagination to see people interact with the game world in that way because it's not
Yeah.
intended, but it's also not intended because
Right.
these are open world role-playing games.
Mhm.
Love that.
Yeah, that's pretty
In
great.
fact, I've thought about starting my own role-playing type stream.
Huh. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it's just a different way to engage with your material.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and there was that episode where we played the pigeons.
Oh, yes. Hatoful boyfriend. Oh,
Yeah.
that was fun.
That was fun.
Uh,
Of course, I wasn't a pigeon. You were all the pigeons.
I was all the pigeons.
You were every
I
pigeon.
really,
ever.
I submitted that for, part of my acting portfolio.
Yeah. you
Surprised
should-
I haven't gotten
rightfully
anywhere with
so.
it. The problem is that I actually don't have much more commentary left for this game because there's just not a lot happening.
I know. There's not
And
really
I've
a lot
made
to
my-
talk about with this game unless we want to repeat ourselves again and again.
Yeah. I've made my criticisms, maybe a little bit too harshly, but the game is what it is. It continues to be the same for, I think, the remainder of your trophy collecting mission here. I don't think you've been experiencing anything too different.
Hmm.
I would love to know, and maybe this should be part of the research that I do. I would love to see what other gamers, other YouTubers, how their reviews are. I'm
Yeah.
sure, of course, we're not the only people that do this, that do a review
Right.
of a game that we have no context going into. And I would like to see a more wide range of reactions to this because sometimes I feel like we're in a bit of a bubble.
Yeah. Perhaps. Where am I meant to be going? Help a sister out, Tony. What am I supposed to be doing here?
Let's see. You've got a red pathway there, which should be able to be opened.
Yeah.
This is one of the levels that I actually did not play, so
Oh.
I'm just looking at the environment like you are.
Yeah, but like
let's see,
all
let's
of
see.
these things that have walls that you can't walk past.
Yeah.
And what's going on over here?
Anything down below, or is that an instant death?
It's probably death, but let's find out. Oh. Death. Oh, yeah, death.
Interesting, though. There's a pathway you can't access without dying.
I think it's where I came from, to be honest.
Can you dance through the wall, perhaps?
Oh, dance through it? I don't know, I'm gonna try. No. I can't roll through it either.
Okay. Can't get on top of the pillars.
No.
about the pathway to the right? If you're facing away from the door,
To the right? No, it's blocked.
does that also get blocked off?
Yeah. Oh, but look. Oh, I found it.
There you go.
Oh, and there were like little memory things too to help me. It was one of those leap of faith things where you just have to go out and walk.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I think I'll call that for us, not for the developers. They gave you some pretty
Yeah,
good
that
stuff.
there was, because you could see all the like the bird things landing on it, and like that was totally on me.
I can just imagine how frustrating it would be trying to get. You know, that's the video that I should watch. I should watch a video of somebody trying to go for the platinum trophy on this,
Yeah.
doing the entire game with no dying.
Oh my god. I mean, it's not like it's like super easy to die in this game. You have to like actively be terrible at jumping, which clearly I am. But like, it just gets obnoxious. Cause like, you know, one of the nice things about this game is that you don't have to worry about, oh no, I'm gonna die, and cause it's not like you have to like restart like super far away, or like, there's real no consequences to dying.
Right.
You know, so it's like, oh no, I fell off the edge. Who flippin' cares? You know.
Right.
So I guess I just don't. But I guess if you were going for that trophy, you'd be more conscious of.
Yeah. You know, previously I stated I didn't do this level, but actually I did. I recognize
you?
this area.
Oh yeah, because you even said you didn't. That with the paper airplane.
Yeah. That doesn't bode well, though. The fact that I don't remember
You
it
don't remember.
kind of
yeah.
means that the environment is all very similar.
I mean, it's like the colors don't even change. Her outfit changes colors, but that's it. Like everything in
Right.
the environment is the same color-wise as every
Yeah, I
other
wonder what
level.
the meaning of that is, that her outfits change.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if you're trying to represent a different part of her life,
Yeah,
you would
that's
think that more than an outfit would change.
yeah. That was my first thought. Like maybe she's a different age. But then you get to the cutscenes in the end, and it looks like so far she's been the same age-ish in all of them, I thought.
Right.
So, I don't know what that could be about.
Yeah, that's. I don't know. I think it's weak.
Yeah.
Here we are to the final movement of the level. See what I did there? Movement. It's a dance
Yeah.
thing.
Got it.
Okay, just making sure, because sometimes you don't seem to react to the level of joyous laughter that I expect.
Oh, you know how I feel about like puns and dad jokes. I mostly
You love
hate
them and keep going.
I do like this though, where the scene is made out of the blocks or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Interesting. Now I wonder if that figure was not the mother but the father.
Which figure?
The giant kind of enemy.
Oh, yeah.
No, got it. Okay. The savior is the father and the mother is the smaller one, because in that image it was the father kind of catching her with the airplane type deal.
I don't know. I think the airplane. I still think the savior is her brother.
Okay.
I definitely think that the bigger because in that scene it said like she said to the savior, "Hey, throw me as far as you can,"
Mm-hmm.
And he said, no, they'll see us. Aren't you worried they'll see us? And then I think the they was her parents.
Okay.
I assume.
Yeah.
Because it definitely looks like the mom clearly has anger issues. Like, what is happening here?
Right. Right.
I do like this, but why is it so slow?
The reconstruction of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's too little happening that
Mhm.
it's not engaging enough.
Yeah. I mean, it's well done. I think it's interesting, and I like the look of it. But you're right. There's not enough happening for how long it takes.
Yeah. And thankfully, we return to the pregnant lady.
Not quite yet.
Why don't you do the little slip and slide?
Yeah. Slip and slide. Okay, this music is good. I'm glad I turned it back up, actually.
Good. So, we're at an hour and 30 minutes. What do we think?
Oh man. I think I feel bad for this girl as a child. I want to know what happened to the brother.
Yeah.
Oh man, now it's raining at the beach. You better stay under the umbrella. Oh, we're going to this house.
Okay, I think you were previously under the umbrella because it began raining. Now she's realizing maybe I should not be on beach.
Maybe, what if there's lightning?
I mean, generally protecting your health seems like a good idea when you're pregnant.
Typically.
I'm not an expert, never been pregnant, just saying.
Yeah. I've never been pregnant either. How about that?
Look at that. 2 experts here.
2 experts on non-pregnancy. Look at this one.
So I will say the developers have been on record saying that this is best played as one single experience. They do not recommend leaving and coming back.
Yeah, I could see that. Oh, there
Which-
go her beads.
There we go. I'll point out that for them to say that, and then have a good majority of the trophies be about completing the game a second time, completing the
Right.
game. That feels like, oh, you're really just laying out the painful, tedious trophies without any consideration of the fun behind it.
Yeah.
I'm a proponent of challenging trophies, but it has to be worthy of the gameplay. If I had to say one ethos of trophy design, it should be that when you get the last trophy, when you achieve the platinum, it should be because you've experienced the game completely
Mhm.
per the developer.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what it is here. I think it's much more of, I don't know, do this, I guess, and it's super hard, and I guess you'll play the game for like 50 hours or something. And
Yeah.
it makes me angry. It does. It makes me really annoyed that there's not somebody that goes to these developers and says, hey, here's how you should do the achievements in your game.
Right. There's no like guidelines for what entail.
Exactly. And there should be. There should be a consultant of sorts.
Right. And I do know that Sony sort of has. I think they do sort of have a. Do they have any say in what the trophies are, Sony?
They've gone through some controversy with that because there have been games that have been released that have complete trophy lists, platinum included, that are not games. I can think of, for example, My Name is Mail. Have you heard of this game?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Heavy air quotes on game.
Yeah.
It's just tapping the X button a bunch of times. I think you can get a platinum trophy and a slew of additional trophies for, $1, I think the game is, and
Yeah.
it takes about 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And as much as I enjoy the fact that they were ballsy enough to come out with something that's
Yeah.
so explicitly, just, hey, trophy hunters, here's a freebie,
Mm-hmm.
it felt like it should have been a wake-up call to Sony to be like, okay, you got us. There is
Right.
absolutely no set of rules here.
No regulation
And,
to this.
yeah, we're going to tighten this up. But then I think a couple weeks later, another game came out that was called something like Easy Platinum Puzzle or something like that.
Okay.
And it was a bunch of like slide 'em puzzles that was
Uh-huh.
it was the exact same puzzle over and over again. I mean, it was not a game. It was
Yeah.
just click this thing if you're a human being with the ability to like recognize a pattern. You got it.
Right.
And it gave platinums, and it was even called out in the title. And Sony did shut that one down because I think everyone was like, wait, Sony, are you really going to just allow this?
Yeah.
Are you going to allow all of these clones? And I'll say this to you, I don't think that there should be just a deluge of games of any quality. I don't think that helps. I think that Sony should be selective about what appears on their store.
Yes. Well, I do know like
Similar to
every.
having-
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I know that every time that, for example, Overwatch releases updates, which they do fairly regularly, they don't have the same constraints as consoles, because on PC they have their own servers. It's like they can
Right.
just on whatever they want. But when they release stuff
Right.
PS4, everything has to be approved by Sony when they, in their
Right.
content. So, I mean, you'd think that they could easily do the same thing with those sorts of things, or trophy lists or whatever. Like,
Right.
would it be that difficult to every update to a game that's already been out, clearly like pretty legit? Like
Yeah.
it seems like they could easily do the same.
Yeah.
Silly indie
No, and
games
it's not just
have easy platinum in the title.
Yeah, really ridiculous. And it's not just about content control, because I think that's what that is. It
Yeah.
functioned as advertised.
Right.
Sony has also released games that have broken trophies, that have a list, like Luftrausers, which was a PS Plus game, God, years ago, I think. Fine enough game, it's perfectly functioning as a game, but there are several trophies that simply don't pop. They're broken.
Mhm.
And the developers were notified of it by angry gamers who played this game expecting to be able to get these trophies.
Right.
And they made some statements saying, "Oh yeah, we'll get to it."
Mhm.
The company doesn't even like function anymore.
Yeah.
Like the developers have moved on to other things, and it will never get patched. And so
Yeah.
now people have this broken trophy list. They can't delete it because they've
Uh-huh.
already achieved one or two trophies.
Right.
I think that's unacceptable. At the very
Yeah,
least,
I agree.
Sony must ensure that these things function.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, and I think also that like, you know, I mean, maybe that's on the I mean, clearly it's on the developer because they're the ones creating the game and they're the ones who's, like, oh, this achievement happens on XYZ time, like
Right.
whatever. And oh my god, I can't get this one. The angle of this one is weird and I keep falling off of it. Um, I think for a short amount of time there was a trophy in okay, I got it. In Overwatch, that
Overwatch?
that wasn't functioning properly and people said to Blizzard, hey, this thing ain't working, get on that.
Yeah.
And obviously it's Blizzard, they're very responsive, they listen to their fans, and so
Right.
yeah, that was taken care of. But you'd think that there would be recourse for that if they didn't fix it, people went to Sony and said, hey, make this work. I mean, obviously, if the developer funked, like, there's not really much Sony can't patch a game that whatever, but I don't
Right.
know.
But here's how I would fix that. I think that every game should have almost a backdoor that can be switched on that allows for trophies to be popped. For example, when all these games that go offline, like the multiplayer lists and
Yeah.
everything, and you've got the multiplayer trophies,
Yeah.
I think that you should be able to pop those trophies. I think that
Yeah.
I hate the idea of having an empty trophy list because at some point servers have gone down. And
Uh-huh.
not all of them go down because, oh, it's an old game and, some of them go down because companies
Right.
go away, they go bankrupt.
Right.
And so for those glitch trophies in which a developer has no intention of fixing, you turn that feature on and then, bam, you pop the trophies.
Right.
And as far as trophy hunting goes, then those trophies become less rare, and that's it. So, but as you sent me, and I've also had some conversations, now Sony Rewards is allowing for a certain collection of trophies to add up points, which will be worth monetary rewards like PSM profile, credits.
Right.
So I think this is even less likely to happen now because it has a monetary value. I don't think that Sony would ever want. I think that they're going to be a little bit tighter on the type of trophies that can be released, like the My Name is Mayo's type games.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll be seeing that anymore, and I
Right.
don't think we'll be seeing my suggestion of the, kill switch for the trophies.
Yeah, because why would Sony want to do something that makes it easier for you to get monetary rewards from them?
Right. Right.
Like greedy corporate overlords.
Not that it's it takes a lot of platinum trophies to even get a very small reward.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Whoops. I noticed as I was going down the thing earlier that for memory bits on the like jumpy on the big balls. I don't know if you saw that. I
Yeah.
was like, how do I get up there? And then I just gave up because I didn't. It's like, what do I collecting these? Do I become? I mean, at the end of the level.
Yeah, there is a trophy associated with collecting them all. The fact that they're kind of blend into the environment makes that really difficult.
Yeah.
And there are different pathways you can take in some of these levels. In fact, there are trophies associated with finding secret paths.
Great. So basically, I'm not gonna get a trophy from this game because I haven't really been paying attention to it. We'll be playing forever.
For all time.
We will never stop playing this game.
I hope you like Bound, because this is the rest of your life.
This is. Some of the mechanics in this game are weird.
How so?
Well, when I'm running down this thing and I'm on like the little blue beams, and then when I get to the resty point, it makes move over to the right, and then I go back
Yeah.
like readjust to get back. And I'm like, I didn't even move my character. I was running in a straight line.
Yeah. I think that has to do with the edge walk feature, which prevents you from falling off. I think that it
Ah,
forces you within sort of the safe space of a grid.
I guess that makes sense. Then
Yeah, I'll have to let you know what the VR looks like. I'll have to pop it on so by the next video, I'll be able to give you an idea.
look, someone was a dancer. Do you think it was the mom?
I think, based on Little Dinosaur, I think this is a children's
Yeah, but the little
trophy
girl.
chest.
I mean, I don't know if the little girl would be. Maybe she was. Who knows? Okay, the kids are like hiding out. Man, this mom. See, look. I think the mom is the abusive one. Look at the husband.
I think you're completely right. That's so fascinating that I took it the other way.
Yeah.
It says a lot about me. Yeah, she's ripping off her own necklace and seems to be attacking him. You're right. I think she's the
Yeah.
aggressor.
Yeah, maybe he was
How
holding up
interesting.
maybe he was holding up that wrench in like self-defense before, or like to be like, "Yo, don't come near me because I have this wrench." Not like I'm going
Right.
to come after you with this wrench. Just like stay away.
Yeah, or that the wrench wasn't even an intentional part
Yeah,
of that
it
fight,
was just
but it just was.
he was fixing the car and he had the wrench, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mom is definitely the abusive one here. It's interesting. I was having a conversation with somebody about how like a lot of times people don't consider women to be able to be abusive or think that, whatever. I don't know.
Right.
Because they just have women as being like meek and like not, I don't know. But it's
Right.
crazy.
Right.
It happens so often, and it's like I don't know. It's that same stigma as like women can't be abusive, men can't be raped. But those things are just not true. Like
Right.
either
Of
of
course.
them, but because we have these stereotypes about those sorts of things, like those sorts of things go overlooked in our society, or they are is taboo to talk about, or men don't talk about being abused.
Right.
Your looks like, oh, what? Yeah.
Right. And even though it I don't know, produces a different I guess stereotype about, gender relationships, it still comes from the same source of just already predefining what somebody's roles in society are.
Yeah.
Real
Yeah.
bad.
And there's our political topic for the week.
We always get into it. I love it.
I know, we always have something.
But hey, but in our defense, this game is clearly designed to get you to talk. Like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The developers
Without a doubt.
clearly did not focus on a gameplay mechanic. This is much more about staring at this piece of art and then talking about it. So
Yes.
I think
Oh,
we're doing exactly what we're
For
supposed to be doing.
sure. Have you seen the I Love You America with Sarah Silverman?
I haven't. No, is it good?
So I just like Sarah Silverman's humor. I don't really like
Mm-hmm.
her that much as a person. Like, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I don't know her as a person, but like her sense of humor, is not my sense of humor.
When we hang out
Um,
for lunch, she's the
yeah, you
worst.
know, she's pretty awful. No, but the show is actually really great.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So basically, Sarah Silverman goes, the few episodes I've seen, she goes and talks to people that have different beliefs from her. And
Okay.
so in the first episode, she went and talked to this family in Louisiana. Everyone was Trump voters.
Mm-hmm.
And she just spoke to them about like why they voted the way they did and blah 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 blah. And then she had an interview
Mm-hmm.
with a woman who used to be a member of Westboro Baptist Church and was
Mm-hmm.
no longer. So she always interviews someone who's had like a significant change in their beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, it's just really, it's actually quite a good show. I recommend at least checking it out. Um, and it's Hulu original, so it's only on Hulu.
Sure.
Uh, but if you don't like her humor, which I really don't, I suggest skipping past like the monologue part of the show because sometimes it's just not funny and it's whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Can
I
I point out
recommend.
that wood would be very wet?
Yeah, it just finished raining.
Just saying. Yeah. So would you say the show is about like examining people's beliefs and how they change? Because that seems like an interesting concept.
Yeah, I mean that seems to be the overall like that's so half of the show is about like trying to understand other people's beliefs. She goes and talks to people that have different beliefs from her and tries to like under and tries to also point out to them that they have way more in common than, you know, being left or right. Like it doesn't matter if you're left or right, you're human beings.
Right.
And then the second part is talking to people who have had significant changes in their beliefs and like sort of trying to understand a why they had the beliefs that they had originally and what led them to the change. Um, so one of the
Yeah.
episodes I saw, she interviewed like a former neo-Nazi and like it's just really interesting.
Hmm.
And really
No, I'll
a
check it
lot of the
out.
people have said, you know, I changed my beliefs when I actually started talking to people. Like when I started like
Yeah.
having interactions with people who are different from me. Which
Yeah.
yeah, I mean if you just have your own narrow worldview, of course you're gonna not understand why other people feel the way they do about things.
Yeah. Well, that's a common problem we have being siloed off into our own little
Right.
virtual bubbles. We don't experience anybody else's life.
Yes, and just putting people into like categories and not really understanding them as humans, as people, their thoughts and their feelings and stuff, and just saying, well, you're XYZ, so you must be like this.
Yeah. Totally. You know, and then you end up thinking that no women can be abusers and only the men can.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so she's wearing, I would say, a much more adult dress. Would you not agree?
Yeah, it has a little bit more of a sexiness to it.
So is she supposed to be maybe a teenager or even an adult here? Is that
Maybe.
the...
I mean, her dresses have always been a little bit provocative. This one actually, I think it's longer than the other ones have been.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
think so. I mean, it does have the slits up the sides, but I just remember thinking, like, as she was running before, you could definitely see, like, her garter belts from behind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, it's not to say that she couldn't, as a child, imagine herself as an adult. You know,
yeah,
that's...
no, 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 no. I don't disagree. I think the red, maybe, the fact that you can,
Yeah, it's
that
very
her,
suggestive.
yeah, yeah.
You know what it is, though? I think her dress is reflecting the environment.
Yes, it is.
That's interesting.
I agree. That is interesting. Um,
Oh, interesting. Okay. We don't typically get a story this early in the level.
yeah. do you think? Was that the dad?
No, I think it's the brother. I think you're right.
The savior is the brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that's more of the dad with the sitting in the
No,
chair?
I definitely think it was the brother. Because he said, I have better things to do. It was your fault anyway. I don't think the dad would tell the kids that it was their fault. I
Yeah,
mean, maybe.
pretty,
I don't know.
pretty shitty parent.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean,
Well, not just that. I mean, the mother's already being shitty. Maybe more
right.
just too childish for an adult to say.
Yeah. And yeah. But, I mean, considering all the stuff he has to deal with, you never know. Maybe he does take it out on the kids because he has no better way to get rid of his anger. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. You know, in games and even pieces of art that are games, they can delve into these topics that are difficult to digest.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you and I are reaching for what
Yeah.
the game is trying to say,
Yes.
and I think that the mechanics are not leaning into it. The mechanics are more something you have to get through in order to get these small vignettes, and I don't think that's very powerful.
No. No. This game, like, if you and I hadn't been having these conversations about the difficult topics and, like, sort of trying to parse what's happening, I would feel nothing toward this game. Like, I would have no emotional connection to whatever is happening here because it really doesn't give you enough to sort of, yeah, okay, yeah, well, you see the husband being abused by his wife, and it's like,
Right.
yeah, that sucks, but I don't know who these people are. I don't have any background story aside from, oh, the mom's kind of a shithead. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's
No, you're
there's
right.
nothing. There's nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the connections between the memory world and the real world are so tenuous that you really have to sit and examine it, and to be doing that while also trying to platform.
Yeah, and it's
It's a
just
no-go.
it doesn't really give you the space in the game
Yeah.
to sort of process. And maybe that's why like the cutscenes where you're going through the shattered, fractured world and putting it back together, maybe that's why those are so long, just to give you a little
Yeah.
bit of time to like understand what's happening.
Right.
But they're so slow, and it's like I just want to not be doing this.
Yeah, and because so the hub world, of course, is the beach, the
Yeah.
living in the beach. But the thing is that we're not progressing the hub world.
No.
The hub world is the notebook, and so you can move her from one interesting location to a next and develop what her life looks like. But because we're only moving her a few meters in the beach between world to world, it's like, okay, but what is the point of slowing us down in this moment? We're not even expounding on who this lady is.
Right. It's not
in the
giving
now.
us anything about her currently as a human person, like how she has
Right.
processed this in her lifetime. Because
Right.
obviously, witnessing your mom being abusive to your father and sort of even to your brother a little bit, that's traumatic. And that's going to
Right.
need some like headspace, and you're going to need probably some therapy. But all we get is her on a beach trying to like discard these old memories. And
Yeah.
we don't know anything about her as an adult other than that she's pregnant.
Right. The
It's-
story doesn't progress when we get to the now space, and it seems like such a clear miss that you could have shown a parallel narrative with her developing, or at least how the past has influenced her, and they don't do that.
No, they don't at all do that.
Well, maybe at the end, a final cutscene after you go through all the hub worlds will do that a little bit, but that means having played, we're now about to hit the 2-hour mark,
Yeah.
and that's a long time to get any substance to the story.
Wasn't I just in here? Isn't this where I have to
Yeah,
go?
I think you were.
Because that's not where I came from. I mean, I came from here. Didn't I?
So I see you trying to run through the archway, but I think you've already been that way.
No, I came from here. Did
Okay.
I not? I don't know.
Perhaps there's a level beneath you. Yeah.
Yeah, but... Oh, I'm waiting for that. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe everything will come together at the end. And
Like the environment is coming together.
right, like we're putting her life back together.
Here you go. I will say this level is much more colorful.
Yeah, I do enjoy this one. And like there was the wall where I was like walking sideways down it. Like that was neat.
Yeah, yeah. You seem to have gotten a better handle on the silk ropes.
Yeah, but well, that one was easy because like they were all in a line in a like a certain angle. Earlier, the ones I was doing was like some crazy angle, and you couldn't adjust where it was looking. Whoops.
Yeah.
And I was like, where am I jumping?
Her reanimation animation
Yeah.
is a bit slow.
Yeah, it takes a while for her to come back because she has to like, I don't know, put her leg
Yeah.
up or something.
So dismissive. Put her leg up or something.
She has to be all dancery about it.
Is that not how you wake up every morning with a slow circle of the legs and like a dainty?
I wake up slowly because I hate waking up. I climb out of bed so slowly because it sucks to be awake, and also I'm an old lady and my body hurts.
Okay, Ethel.
That's funny.
I do try.
Okay, this level does look really cool compared to the rest of them.
Yeah.
Um, Whoa, that's intense.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, can I
I
just
think
walk?
this may be the biggest challenge that you've had to encounter, that you've had to...
Yeah, but look, you don't even
biggest-
have to do it.
Oh, you know what? Okay, so I think because they're memory shards, perhaps in between the pillars,
Yeah.
if you want to get that 100%, you're going to have
Yeah.
to get through that.
But,
But
like-
if you're going for it, you're likely to die.
But the thing is, you can't even see those until you get, like, they're only right there.
Right.
You know, like, and you don't even see that until you're... Oh, and there's some right there? How the hell do you get those?
That's a good question. How do you get those?
Don't know, don't care.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some better streamer who does the 100% walkthrough, and
Yeah.
it's upsetting because they make it seem so easy. Of course, they're editing it down to only the successful moments,
Right.
but it's so frustrating to be like, how did you do that series of jumps?
Yeah.
How did you even know how to do that?
Right, because they've probably tried it like 10 jillion times, but they only show you the time in which they are successful at doing it. And then you're like,
Right.
man,
Not like us. We only show you the failures,
we show you all of our failures.
one after the other.
Bam, bam, bam. Man, last week's game, all the failures. I was just like, guys, just watch me fail at this game. That's what this week is gonna do.
Maybe we should change the name to the show is Two Gamers One Trophy Fail at.
Oh my gosh. But the thing is, we do successfully get our trophy most of the time, so...
And
Not really.
I know that I'm self-critiquing, but if I may say, I think that I typically choose a pretty challenging yet doable trophy for you each time.
Yeah, and I think there have been times where it's like, oh, I don't really know if you're gonna get this one, and then I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it. Like, watch me do it.
That's right, you persevere, and we've never had a miss All of
No.
2017, no misses. Watch as your PlayStation explodes and we
Oh
miss
my
it.
god, don't say shit like that. I can't afford a new one.
So we have hit the 2-hour mark,
Yep.
and I have promised you that I will begin giving you hints as you request them. So feel free now to, as you become tired of the repetitiveness, ask, and if you feel like you want to keep going and you are confident, then you keep
Well,
going.
My question is, okay, I feel like that there aren't, unless I haven't unlocked all the levels or something, I feel like there's not that many levels left. There's not that much story left, is there?
I
I mean,
agree with you.
not that
My
there was
guess would
story
be
to
is that
begin with.
right. Well, there's the faint hints of a story in this
Yeah.
game. I agree with you. I think that once we get past this, what would you call this boss sequence? It's not even
Yeah. A battle.
the cinematic sequence, whatever. I think you maybe have one left. If that.
Is there a trophy for completing them all?
Strictly speaking, no. But once
Okay.
you complete them all, you do open up the avenue for a quick trophy.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll just wait and see. Is there one that I don't know. I'll see how I feel at the end of the next level.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're in the living room. Oh, now the dad's being a jerk. See, but I think he's just being a jerk because the mom is a jerk. Oh, and look, she must have been the dancer. Look at what she's wearing.
hmm So, okay, so we think that he's the one that was saying those things.
What things?
I'm not gonna. We now based on this picture, this 3D, still image.
Uh-huh.
That he was the one saying, "I'm not gonna help you. Do it yourself," or was he
No,
just
I
punishing her?
think the brother. I still think that's the
Was saying
brother,
those
because look
things.
at him, because he's just like watching this happen. And
see.
she had said to him, "Hey, can you help me out?" And he's like, "I have better things to do. It's your fault anyway." I think she
I
did
see.
something. See, she knocked over this plant or some shit,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Nah,
So-
I'm not gonna." I think it's the brother. I still think it's the brother.
So, do we think that both parents are abusive to the children, or just the mother?
I think the dad just doesn't know how to. I think the dad is not abusive. I just think he doesn't know how to interact with his children properly because the only example he's had is his wife being an asshole.
Yeah. Okay.
I
I
think
can buy that.
I think yeah, he yells at them and looks like tugging on her, but I think he just doesn't know how to punish them properly because the mom has never loving to
Yeah,
them.
I hear you. Yeah.
I mean, I could be totally misreading that. Maybe he is a jerk. Who knows? Guys, I'm not a relationship expert, okay?
That's what everyone comes here for, though.
Relationship advice?
Via video game metaphor.
You know, Tony, I think you and I would be really good at giving relationship advice. I mean, not
Ugh, I
me,
agree. I
because
think it
I'm
would be excellent.
terrible at relationships, but like I think I understand relationships. I'm just terrible at managing my own.
Now, listen. When you're in your own relationship, you're too close to it. You're too
Yeah.
close to see what's going on, and
Right.
you're too caught up in your emotions. But you can very easily see other people's relationships and go, "Ooh, here's exactly what you're doing wrong."
Yeah. No, I guess I agree with that, yeah.
I do like the little, you know what it is? Okay, you get through the level, you get to the
Yeah.
end. You get the interlude of the 3D picture,
Uh-huh.
which is sort of, here's your glimpse of a story.
Yeah.
Then you go through this magic carpet ride back through the level. Okay,
Right.
that's fun. It's a bit of a calm down, cool down.
Yeah.
Then you get to the doorway, which again is a bit slow, and then you get back to the beach. But the beach serves no purpose other than another slowdown. It doesn't give the
Right.
story, so you have what is in effect three slowdowns for one small bit of story.
Mm-hmm. I mean, here you get like just a, it's the same thing all the time though.
Yeah.
It's the same image of the mom and the kids.
Yeah, I mean, is this progressing any or
I
no,
don't think,
right?
I think, I think it does a little bit. I think in the last one, the mom was only grabbing on the boy, and then she had grabbed onto the son. I mean, the daughter.
Right.
Oh, look, now they're a family. Dude, pick up your litter.
You're so against the littering. I love it.
Well, you're on a beach.
No, I don't disagree with you.
I'm assuming that this is her house now.
Yeah, I'm watching. I haven't seen this part, so this is new to me too.
You'd already gotten a trophy by this point?
I had.
Yeah, well, I'm
By the
terrible
time I
at it.
finished playing, I had achieved two trophies, but I didn't get this far in the story.
Got it.
Okay, so maybe she does have a husband, or
No,
is this
did you
the
see? He
father?
looks older. I think that's her father.
Okay.
There's story here now, and I didn't even pick a page.
Is that a cameo by Stan Lee?
Oh, she's in control of the world now.
There we go.
My butt's asleep. I've been sitting on the floor though.
Well, that doesn't seem healthy.
No.
Well, let me reopen that script. Let me give you some of the stats on the playtime here.
Mhm.
I get all of these stats from howlongtobeat.com. It's a great site if you want to quickly see how long typically a gaming experience will last you. It's a
Mhm.
good set of information to know whether it's worth getting the game or not. Some people judge the value of a game by how long you can play it, and some people just want to jump into a short experience.
Mhm.
This game, they state that the main story should take you 2 hours to complete. And if you do the main story plus all the extras, which I assume means the sort of extra little levels, areas of the map that you have to search to
Mhm.
complete, you're only looking at 2.5 hours.
Oh.
That being said, to get the Platinum Trophy, the average time for completion for that is 40 hours.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Look! 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 The dad's leaving.
Okay, there we go. There's our story.
Yeah.
So she was abusive and he's out.
He's like, see ya, and he left the kids behind.
That's right.
Should have
And
taken
now the
them.
father lives with them?
I don't know. Let's
Her?
figure it
Live
out.
with her? As an old man?
I think so.
Because she's pretty torn up about it.
Yeah. I mean, clearly she's got issues because of that.
Yeah. Have you noticed that some doorways have been red and others white?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, I wonder if that has to do with maybe your completion level or something.
I don't know. I mean, this level
Hide
didn't
to
have
the list.
anything to complete, so
Yeah.
I literally just ran from one end of the carpet to the other, and
Yeah.
do I go inside? Do I not? Can I not?
Walk through the glass.
Yep. I
Shards
don't
of
know.
glass
Maybe she
everywhere.
just
Maybe you
like
have to go up to the
opens.
second level.
Oh, no, I got it. Oh, maybe this isn't her house. Maybe this is his house. Look, yeah, this is his house. She doesn't live here. She's ringing the doorbell.
Okay, she's visiting.
Yeah. Wait, isn't that the car that dropped her off earlier?
Is
Oh,
it
I
red?
can either,
can't see it
I can
yet.
either, so I can either get back in my car. That must be her husband. I can either get back in my car
Okay.
or ring the doorbell.
Big choices here. What do we think?
I think I should forgive him. I think I should ring the
Go for
doorbell.
it. You deserve your own playthrough. You go for it.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, remember how I said that I make poor choices often?
You did mention that. I'm curious to see how this plays out because, again, I'm in the past. Let's see. For me, you're now pushing the doorbell. I'm just thinking of the worst case scenario to like shotgun you or something.
No, I hadn't gotten anywhere. I was still ringing the bell when I said that, but you know.
Oh, okay. The fade to black typically means okay. The story's over, but I guess not.
No. No, we're getting some credits here.
Oof. That means that this is the second game in the entire run of our show that you've hit a credit screen for. Do you remember what the first one was?
The first one where we saw credits was... Nope, I don't remember. What was it?
It was Hatoful Boyfriend.
Oh, that's right. And I got the trophy at the very end for not making anyone fall in love with me. Story of my life.
Most depressing. Congratulations on being alone.
Okay, so
Okay, so
I
we're gonna
did...
do something interesting.
Okay.
We're gonna do our ratings and everything of this game prior to you actually achieving the trophy.
Okay.
Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to give this a Metacritic rating. Metacritic does 0 to 100, so you're going to give me a number between 0 and 100. But first, I have to guess whether you're going to beat the Metacritic rating. And I think you are not. But
Okay.
go ahead.
I give this game a 40.
40.
Yeah.
Wow. So
Yeah.
do you think that you have beaten the Metacritic rating?
No.
You have none. Correct. The Metacritic rating was not as high as you said. I'm going to have you. I'm going to read to you what the higher and low is. So, digitally downloaded said of Bound, Bound isn't going to be an esport and doesn't really care about that. Nor is Bound for people looking to unwind after a hard day's work with passive entertainment. There's nothing wrong with games being either of those things, but Bound is for a third audience. It's for the people that want something thoughtful, meaningful, and intelligent. On the low end, Gaming Age said it may be nice to look at, but it's not all that fun to play. Which is interesting because both of them are almost saying the same thing, but with different positive and negative
Right, different
perspectives on it.
spins on it, yeah.
Yeah. So, drum roll, Metacritic gave it an average of 71. Those two reviews were 142 respectively. So you did not beat the Metacritic rating.
What was the Metacritic rating?
It was 71.
71? Really?
I know. Kind of high.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to get that trophy.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
I want you to enter any game mode. You can do speedrun, you can do whatever, just get into the game.
Okay. Speed run. What does that entail? Not collecting
But a
anything?
lot of trophies for speed running, yeah. So once you get into any of the levels,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna want you to push the big center button of the controller,
The
the sort of
trackpad?
typically the map, yeah, the touchpad, right?
Yeah, the touchpad. Yeah. I have to watch this lady slowly walk across the beach.
Pregnant lady walking on the beach. I got a notebook of pages. I
And
should
I'm
throw
gonna
them
leave him on
away
the beach.
because fuck the environment. I'm having acid trips.
She's
Imagining
pregnant.
dancing sequences. Exactly. She's on acid while pregnant.
I don't think her childhood fucked her up that badly, Tony.
Listen, bad parents can do that to you, man.
Sure.
Man, long intro sequence with nothing happening.
Look, her dress was off the shoulder the whole time. Why did it look so different in that last? Like, it's exactly the same. It's just different colors.
Okay, so maybe it's reflecting just whatever color the world typically is?
No, I think so. It does. It slowly got to that. So it started off as blue, and then it slowly got to be more and more like reflective.
Yeah.
Um, I just noticed that the mother gave you an order to stop him, and I think that's really interesting. That she would put
To
it on
stop
her.
who? The father?
I would assume so.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
So once you push that big center button, I want you
Uh-huh.
to fool around with the different settings and take a really nice selfie for me.
How do I take a selfie?
You know how to take a selfie. All millennials do. It comes natively to us.
Oh, I just got a trophy. I didn't even have to take the selfie.
Congratulations!
Yay, got trophy!
You could have done that at any time.
Jeez. This again.
But you did manage to complete the entire story of the game, which I think is a first for Two Gamers One Trophy. Typically,
Yeah,
we do this for the point of a quick review, but we managed to go through the entire experience, minus a lot of the collectible slash
sure,
replayable.
sure, sure.
So, at a disk size of 1.55 gigabytes and a normal price of $19.99, is this game worth downloading and/or playing?
I think it's worth downloading if you have PlayStation Plus and can get it for free till the end of December, which, wait, it's January 2nd, right? When the games come out?
Well, this game was actually a November
Oh,
game,
yeah, this was a
so
November
it is
game. Sorry, guys,
no longer
JK.
available.
Uh, no, it's not worth the $20. It's not worth your 1.5 gigabytes. Don't play this game. I mean, uh, it's really not. It looks pretty. Just watch YouTube videos of people playing it if you really need to see the visuals. Like, it's boring.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't want to be, I've gone back and forth and trying not to be critical because I appreciate that they made an effort at making an artistic game about what appears to be about, parental abuse and neglect,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a good thing. We should have
Yeah,
those things, and I'm
yeah,
not against artistic games. I'm not against walking simulators, but
no.
this was slow,
It was so
and
boring.
you got tiny little bits of story. You could have done so much more, and you
Mm-hmm.
didn't.
Yep.
And for this to be about her, I guess thinking, should I knock on the door or not? That this being the entire point of this.
Should I forgive my father or not, basically, was what it came down to, I guess.
You could have extended that. You could have had her not just walking on the beach. You could have had her in her home, getting in the car, being at the beach. You could have given us some hints at this woman's life. But what have we
Yeah.
really learned here? What's her life like now? We don't know.
Yeah, we have no idea.
Yeah. So I agree. I don't think you should play it. I think it's not worth the 2 hours that it would take to play this.
Ugh.
And that's not asking for a lot, and I don't think it's worth it.
No, it's totally not worth it. Totally
Wah,
not.
wah. Sorry about that.
You know, and it's not often that we've said that, but I think in December we've said that at least 3 times.
December has not been a good month. I've
Well-
read reviews of people who talk about, which months are better.
Yeah.
December has not been a very positive one by the majority of gamers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was a November game, but we've played it here in December. So
Oh, you're right. This was a November one. You're right.
yeah. So yeah, I think the only show in December that we said to download the game was last week. Did we even say to download last week? I can't remember.
For Forma Point 8?
Yeah.
You did say to download it, I believe, but
Yeah, I think
it
so
did not
too.
come with. Probably, I think it was your most frustrating experience, was it not?
It was just because I'm not very good at games. But the viewer that we had with all of his comments was very helpful.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, if this helps anybody determine whether to download or not, we're grateful to have helped out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, other than that, I would say don't spend too much time bothering on this. You've
Yeah.
experienced the entirety of this game.
Yeah, you watched me with the entire gameplay, except aside from like a few shortcuts or like collecting all the things. So really, you don't need to buy this game because I just played it for you. The end.
The end. So I guess the only thing I can say is to tune in next time. We should be back on Thursday, excluding any weird scheduling conflicts. I don't anticipate them, but I think we'll be playing 2018's PS Plus game Batman: The Telltale.
Awesome.
I'm excited.
Me too.
Well, thanks for doing this with me.
Yeah, thanks for joining me.
And on behalf of the internet, thank you for getting 1 trophy.
It's the least I can do, like literally.
Fantastic. Until next time.
Bye bye.